CTA, which part of the mental story surprised you the most? Your size, your intelligence, your fitting behavior, or the fact that a giant can be gentle? Drop your thought in the comment. If you want more long from Deep Ocean Story, where we explore nature with both wonder and discipline, subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay close, because the she still had countless stories to tell, and together we will uncover them.
Cold opened, the shadow that fly. The diver noticed it at a change in the light, not a shape at first. There's a shadow passing through a blue column like a cloud moving across the sun. Then the water opened. A pair of wings appeared, wider than the diver thought. The creatures glide without effort, as if the ocean itself is carrying it. No frantic movement, no aggression, just game power. It approaches not like a predator stalking prey, but like a mind approaching a question. And as it passes close enough to feel the pressure of deeply water, it turns slightly, not to threaten, to look. That is the moment most people never forget. Because fear doesn't come from tests, fear comes from realizing something enormous can be close and still be gentle. Tonight we are entering the story of the Giant Oceanic Manta Ray, a future-fitting titan that's its microscopic life. Fly through the sea like a living aircraft, and quietly challenges what we think intelligence looks like underwater. This isn't a monster story, it's an ocean story. A story about elegance, mystery, and the fractured link between wonder and despair. And by the end, you will understand why the manta ray is not just one of the most breathtaking animals on Earth. It may be one of the most important signals we have left that the ocean is still alive. Part 1. The Blue Desert. We talk about the ocean like we know it. We draw it on maps. We label it with names. We show it as a smooth blue-black background beneath continent. But the truth is simpler and harsher. The open ocean is not a place built for comfort. It's a desert, not of sand, of water. A world where food is scattered, where shelter is rare, where distances are immense, and where the rules that protect you on land don't exist. Out there, you can swim for hours and find nothing but blue, and yet life thrives. Not everywhere as one, but in pushes. Planktons bloom right like invisible storm. Nutrients surge with upwelling and current. Hotspots appear, then fade. The open ocean reward the animal that can do something difficult. Travel far without wasting energy. That's where the manta ray belongs. Not just near reef, not just shallow lagoon. The Giant Oceanic Manta Ray is a creature of the pelagic world, the open sea. And to survive there, it needed a design that evolution almost never grant a discord, a giant body with a gentle appetite powered by extreme efficiency, which raises the first real question: what exactly is a manta ray? Part 2. Meet the giant. At first glance, the Giant Oceanic Manta Ray looked like an aircraft designed by nature. A diamond-shaped body, massive triangular pectoral fins that behave like wings, a tail that seemed too thin and simmer for something so large, and at the front two strange curling appendages, cephalic fin that unfurled like old. Those arms are not weakened, they are taut. When a manta fits, the cephalic fin open and roll outward, forming a funnel that guides plankton-rich water into the mouth. Is it not beating? Is it not tearing? Is it filtering? And the score is shocking. This animal can span over 7 meters, more than 25 feet. It can weigh more than a ton. That it survives on organisms so small you could hold thousands of them in a spoonful of water. That should feel impossible. And it's unless you understand the manta's secret. The manta doesn't hunt prey. It processes an environment. But before we go deeper, we have to clear up one common confusion. Manta rays are often grouped with stingray in casual conservation. But mantas do not have a venomous stinger. They are not built for stabbing. Their power is not about attacks, it's about motion. And to understand that motion, you need to understand the physics of a body that is flying through liquids. Part 3. The act of flying underwater. Water is compared to air. It raises movement. It punishes speed. It turns every motion into work. So when you see a manta ray glide, it looks effortless for a reason. Its body is an engine of reduced drag. The manta's wings send red lips. Its body shape channel flow. Its movement isn't frantic like a fish tail beating. Instead, it's short. Its stroke is long. Its turn is controlled. This is not an animal built for constant burst speed. It's built for cruising, covering distance with minimum energy. And energy efficiency isn't just nice out here, it's a survival. Biggest food in the ocean, in the open ocean, come in patches. If you burn too much energy searching for food, you lose even. If you fight, so the manta become a specialist in one of the hardest strategies in nature. Big body, small foot, long distances. To make that strategy work, it's hard to show a problem that sounds abstract. How do you fish a one-ton animal with microscopic organism? This is where the story becomes almost a lion. Part 4. Future feeding, eating the ocean. When the conditions arrive, plankton bloom from Sometimes they are visible as a fly hatch in the water. Sometimes they are invisible to human eyes but massive in density. This is where mantle come alive. A mantle opens its mouth, an animal that opening at the front of its body and move forward. Water rushes in. Inside specialized structure called uranical trap plankton and tiny organisms, while seawater exit through the gill. It is the same concept as a giant water filtering krill, except mantle are fish built for maneuverability and speed changes waves cannot do as easily. A mantle can filter huge volume of water while fitting, essentially turning the ocean into field, and that despite its size, it may only need around a few dozen kilograms of food per day, depending on condition and activity. Doesn't mean the mantle isn't constantly eating. Its timing is fitting around ocean productivity, arriving when the buffets appear, then moving on when it disappears. And sometimes it doesn't fish alone, sometimes mantle gather. And when they gather, you see behavior that feels intelligent. As 5. Microscopic, the fitting cyclone. Picture a plankton bloom rising near a reef edge where current collide. A few mantas arrive first, gliding in wide circle, tapping the water with motion. Then more appear from the blue, like silent aircraft emerging from fog. One mantle begins aloft, another further in behind it, then another. Soon they are not random. They are form a rotating column, a spiral, a fitting cyclone. From above, it looks like a slow underwater tornado made of living wings. Its mantle rides the current, mouth open, filtering plankton. As it rotates through the densest parts of the bloom, no sound, no collision. It's a coordinated movement on a scale most people associate with birds or mammals, not fish. And that is the moment divers start asking the dangerous question: is this eating or is this decision making? Because when behavior becomes structured, the line between simple animal and thinking animal gets blurry. And with mantas, that line blurs more than most people expect. Part 6. The brain problem. Why mantas break the fish stereotype? If you grow up thinking fish are simple, just hungry, just reactive, manta ray are going to offend that belief, because manta have unusually large brain relative to their body size for fish, and not just large, structurally complex, with regions associated with learning, memory, and social interaction. Now, brain size alone isn't a perfect measure of intelligence, but it's a warning sign, a sign that there is more happening behind the eyes than we want to admit. Divers report mantas approaching humans out of curiosity, not rushing, not attacking, not fleeing, approaching, circling, returning, sometimes repeatedly. At cleaning stations, mantas appear to crowd, take turns, revisit specific locations, and interact in ways that suggest recognition of play and pattern. And then there is one of the most controversial claims, self-awareness. Some observers suggest mantas show behavior consistent with self-recognition or advanced cognitive response, traits we usually reserve for dolphins, elephants, and great apes. This remains debated, and it should be, because we shouldn't romanticize animals into human. But here is the discipline truth. Mantas display a shared behavior that strongly suggests they are not mindless filter feeders. They are aware, they are responsive, they are capable of learning. And if that's true, then the manta isn't just a beautiful animal, it's a moral matter. Because the moment we accept an animal has a richer inner life, our responsibility changes. But before we go there, we need to understand what mantas do for the ocean. Because even if you don't care about intelligence, manta ray matter ecologically. Part 7. The ocean nutrient mover. It's easy to think of plankton as background, a green haze, tiny thing that's acid, so that's bigger thing can access. But plankton is the foundation of marine food web. It shapes oxygen production, it influences carbon cycling, it feeds everything from small fish to whales. Manta ray feeds on plankton, and by doing so, they become parts of nutrient dynamic. They consume energy from one place and move it to another through migration and sweat. They turn plankton batches into movement. In some areas, mantas gather at cleaning stations where they become hub of activity. Small fish clean them, other fish gather nearby. Predator may lurk at the edges. The presence of a giant feeder can reorganize local ecologies like a moving landmass that attract life. Mantas are charismatic megafauna. They pull attention, tourism, and protection efforts. In many regions, a living manta is worth far more than a dead one. But symbolism doesn't protect you from the next chapter, mystery, because for all we know, mantas still vanish into places we can follow. Part 8. Mystery. Where do they go? The biggest mental mystery in movement. We know mantas migrate, we know they travel long distances, but the open ocean is massive, and tracking a moving animal in that world is like tracking a single airplane in the sky with no radar. Tags help, satellite data help, but there are still gaps. Here's one. Mantas appear in one region for weeks, then disappear for months. Where do they go? What do they follow? Plankton density, temperature, gradient, currents, magnetic cues. And then there is the deep. Some mantas die to extreme depths, over 1,000 meters. What are they doing down there? One possibility is feeding. Deep scattering layers of small organisms rise and fall daily, and mantas might exploit them. Another possibility is navigation. Deep current could function like conveyor belt, or maybe it's a thermoregulation Or maybe it is something we have not guessed that. Some divers describe mantas shifting the state of marking, darkening or lightening quickly during interaction, as if expressing mood or communication. This is difficult to verify consistently, but it is another signal that mantas might be more expressive than we understand. Mantas are visible enough to be famous, but unknown enough to remain mysterious, and in that mystery, we are changing the world faster than we can understand it. Past night, the human collision. The Giant Oceanic Manta Ray is built for a world where danger comes from predator and scarcity. But modern danger is different. Modern danger is not test, is next, is in markets, is a pollution that disguises itself as food. In some regions, mantas are hunted for practice, show as medicine with no proven benefits. In other regions, they die as bycatch, caught accidentally in fishery, targeting other species, and they are a quieter threat that is harder to film. Food disruption. Plankton depend on ocean chemistry and temperature. Climate change alters current and productivity patterns. Pollution changes nutrient dynamics. When the base of the food web shifts, everything above is feel the shock. Big, slow-growing animals cannot adapt as fast as the world changes. A few years of heavy pressure can reduce population dramatically, and because mantas reproduce slowly, recovery isn't immediate. If you remove a deuce, you remove the case of potential reproduction. That is how a population collapses quietly. Not in one dramatic event, but through certain pressure that outpaces biology. However, there is hope. Manta protection has increased in many places. Some trade restriction access, marine protected areas are expanding. Researchers are touching mantas and mapping corridor. Every data point becomes a chain to protect a road instead of turning it into a dead corridor. But then, the twist originate without violence. When humans imagine power in nature, we imagine predator, task, claw, speed, blood. But mantas offer a different model. Originate without violence. A wanton animal that survives not by killing large prey, but by mastering the invisible. It feeds on plankton and still crosses ocean. It gathers with others and still more with control. It approaches divers not as prey or threat, but as curiosity. That is why so many people describe mantas with words they usually reserve for mammals: graceful, gentle, curious, intelligent. Not because mantas are like humans, but because they reveal a broader truth. The ocean contains mind we have barely begun to recognize. And when you recognize a mind, you cannot comfortably treat it as an object. Thus, discomfort is the beginning of responsibility. Batch 11. Microscreen. The cleaning station. There is a place once some rib where mantas come libation to a cleaning station. Small fish are waiting. The manta arrive and slow, almost hovering in place. It steers its body and holds steady while cleaner fish remove parasite and dead skin. The manta doesn't snap, it doesn't chase, it's allowed, it cooperates. And if you watch long enough, you see pattern, individual mantas returning, spacing themselves, sometimes forming an unspoken odor. This is one of the most powerful mental screens because it's so a giant choosing stillness, choosing patience, choosing interaction, and it reminds you that the ocean is not just a battlefield. It is a society, but societies are fractured when the environment changes. But what we can do, protection that actually works. It's easy to finish with nature's story with emotion and leave it there. But mantas don't need emotion, they need outcome. So here is what real protection tends to look like in practice. 1. Reduce bycatch risk. Better fishing methods. Safer gear design. Strict enforcement in key habitats. 2. Protect hotspots. Cleaning station and aggregation zones should be monitored and protected. 3. Control trade. If use blade markers are restricted and efforts hunting pressure decreases. 4. Reduce plastic and water pollution. Because plankton, system, and food web are not separate from human waste stream. 5. Support ethical tourism. Well live a manta is worth more than a dead one. Conservation become economically stable. 6. Research and monitoring. Tracking photo identification. Genetic studies have determined migration corridor and population structure. Protection is not one heroic action, it is 1,000 boring one. And that is exactly how nature survives. Part 13. What protection really looks like from story to system. Saving mantas is not a slogan. It is a set of systems. First, protection starts with data. Photo ID catalog. Satellite tagged. Genetic sampling. Migration corridor mapping. Because you cannot defend what you cannot locate. Second, protection requires enforcement. Trade bans without enforcement are treated. Marine protected areas without monitoring are wishful thinking. Thus, protection requires incentive. In many places, ecotourism has shown that a live manta can generate long-term value. A dead manta generates a one-time profit. When local communities benefit from living animals, the markets and conservation become more stable. 4. Protection requires reducing bycatch. This means chasing gear, chasing practice, improving reporting, and building accountability into supply chain. And finally, protection requires something human hate, patience.
because slow-breathing animals recover slowly if populations are damaged. The repair takes time. There is no quick fix, but the base of inanimate, a stable ocean still capable of producing lion. Batch 14. The real reason this matters. A test of what humans become. Here is the uncomfortable truth beneath every mental story. We are the most powerful species in the ocean now, not by swimming, by altering system and power always reveal character. The manta ray is a test of whether human can coexist with something magnificent without turning it into a product. A test of whether intelligence can do more than attract. Because mantas represent a kind of greatness that does not threaten us. They are not predators of humans. They are not competitors for our food in a direct way. They are a wonder we can choose to keep, or a wonder we can choose to erase, and the choice won't be made by one person. It will be made by system, markets, law, enforcement, tourism, research, and public perception, which means story matter, because story changes perception, and perception changes policy, and policy changes outcome. Batch 15. Quick myth. What mantas are not. Before we end, let's clear out a few myths that keep returning. Myth 1. Mantas are dangerous like sharks. Mantas don't hunt humans. They don't have tests designed for beating large prey. They are filter features. If a manta comes close, it's usually curiosity or the current, not aggression. Metal. A manta is just a big stingray. Mantas are rare, but they lack the venomous stinger that people fear. They are built for cruising and feeding, not stabbing. Myth 3. They will survive because they are hurt. Science does not protect you from net, bycatch, or habitat collapse. In fact, science can make entanglement more deadly because the animal cannot easily free itself. My first protection is simple. Just ban hunting. Hunting ban matter. But bycatch can still kill mantas as well. And plankton ships can still starve them. Protection had to be systemic. Fishing practice, hotspot, and food web health. And here is the final myth, the one that matters most. My actions don't change the ocean. They do, especially when multiplied by millions, because the ocean is connected to land by river, with streams, supply chain, and choices. The manta ray is not just one species, but it sits at the intersection of many systems. When you protect mantas, you protect the ocean's ability to remain productive and mysterious. Batch 16. A final image. Imagine the open ocean at dark. Sunlight enters in long ball beams. The surface is calm, but the water below is moving. Currents sliding like invisible river. A manta ray glides through that light, not rushing, not fleeing, not hunting, just moving. A wanton animal surviving on microscopic life, crossing distances we can barely conceptualize, returning to places it somehow remembers. And as it disappears into blur, the ocean feels larger than it did before. That's what the manta do. It makes the world feel bigger. And in a time when humans keep shrinking nature into number and products, anything that makes the world feel bigger is worth protecting. Part 17. The three questions scientists still chase, even with modern tasks and underwater cameras. Three questions keep returning. First, how do mantas decide when to migrate? If plankton bloom or the field, what is the trigger? Do mantas sense chemical changes in water? Do they detect temperature layer the way we feel weather shift? Or are they following social information, learning routes from other mantas over time? Second, where do they give birth? We see a dew at cleaning station. We see mating train, but actual births are rarely observed. That means critical life stages may happen far from quite out in the blue wilderness where humans rarely watch. Thus, how do they map the ocean? If they travel hundreds or thousands of kilometers, they need more than luck. Magnetic cues, current pattern, sun position, even smell. Any combination could be in play, but the full navigation model is still incomplete. And that's the point. The manta ray is not only a subject we protect, it's a subject that keeps the ocean mysterious. Part 18. A short promise for the future. If we do this right, if tree breakthrough drop, bycatch decreases, and hotspots remain protected, manta ray can remain part of the living ocean. Not as museum skeleton, not as we used to have them, as flying giants. And years from now, a new diver will enter the water and see that same shadow in the light, and feel that same shock of wonder, and realize the ocean is still capable of producing something gentle and animate at the same time. That future is possible, but only if we choose it.
Closing the last frontier. The Giant Oceanic Manta Ray is a reminder of how little we truly know about our own planet. Beneath the surface exists a world of intelligence, elegance, and mystery that continue to challenge what we think life can be. Each time a manta spreads its massive wing and glides through the sea, it shows us something great. That greatness doesn't require cruelty. The ocean is still our last great frontier, and protecting creatures like the manta isn't only about saving one species. It's about protecting the balance beneath the surface, the balance that supports everything above it. Because the ocean doesn't just belong to the sea, it belongs to the planet, and the planet belongs to all of us. So, the question isn't whether the manta ray is beautiful, the question is whether we will allow beauty to survive when it stops being convenient. Because if we love the manta, we love more than an animal. We love a message from the ocean that says, there were still winter here.
Closing. The message of the manta. If you are never meet a manta ray in the wild, it's hard to explain what it feels like. not fear, not adrenaline, or strict kind of game, because the manta doesn't behave like a monster. It behaves like a present, a giant moving through blue water as if it had nothing to prove. And maybe that's why the manta become unforgettable. It reminds us of something we rarely see in ourselves: power without aggression, sight without cruelty, presence without panic. The Giant Oceanic Manta Ray is a message from the ocean that says the world can still be full of wonder if we stop turning wonder into inventory. The ocean is still our last frontier, and the manta is one of its most intelligent giants. Whether it remains alive or becomes a story we tell children about what we used to have depends on what we choose next.